Namaskar, I am Rajendra Salokhe. In this video, I collected some 10 actual played games by the Grandmasters, which has reached the end game. Now, after reaching the end game, one of the players has, of course, resigned. But then I found the possible moves from the competitor, and I am giving you those moves and how the end game could be played. So instead of giving some position from the book and other things, I actually played games I am showing here, and then I'll be giving a little information about the opening played while playing the games. So, and I will request you to subscribe this channel because I am changing the channel. That old channel I am changing. So here is the first game. It is between Chigorin and Tarash, both great players. Chigorin, their names are given to defenses also, and in fact this is a French Chigorin variation only. So Chigorin himself has played. So French defense, as you know, starts with e4 c6 e6. e4 e6 is the French defense, and the white brings out the queen here to e2, and this is called Chigorin variation. I'll just play the game fast till end game is reached. If you are interested, you can slow down, you pause the video and see the moves, or you can just go through the moves, because if we go into detail in the game, it will be one video will be required per game. So this is French Chigorin variation, and after about 52 moves, not about exactly after 52 moves, the game has reached this position, end game. Now white has resigned here, but let us see how black can checkmate white, because that is interesting. And many times what happens is pawn is promoted to queen and it becomes a queen and king game, so you should know how to play that also. Now brings the king to h2, king to g4, king to g2, captures the pawn. Black king captures the pawn on h4, king to f2, black king to g4, king to e2, and he captures another pawn also. Now here the white has totally lost, but let's see again. King to e3, king to e5, king to d3, f5, king c3, king e4, king b3, king e3, king a3, and then it brings the pawn down here to f4. After just moving away the white king, he gets the protection, because now it's impossible for the white king to reach this h7 pawn. So he brings the pawn forward, king to c3, pawn to f2, king to b2, f1, queen, it becomes a queen. Now here again, when you have a queen and king, then sometimes it is quite risky. You have to take very much care that it's not a stalemate, because many times that happens. Even if people having one rook and one queen and alone king is there, and they are trapped into a stalemate, and then the match is drawn unnecessarily. Queen to e1. So you have to see that either every move you give is a check, or you have to very keenly see that white king has a space to move. after you put the queen somewhere. So queen to e1, king to b2, queen goes to b4 and gives a check. Check is no problem. King to c1, king to d3. Now this is the normally position when you have a rook and a king or queen and king. You bring your king on top of the other king, and then just if this queen goes to b8, then it is a checkmate, or if queen goes to d2, it is a checkmate. But normal procedure is if you have a rook, then you bring this down to b1, and it is a checkmate. So queen to b1 and checkmate. So that is about the first game. Now we have the second game. It is played into opening queen bishop game. So queen bishop game opening moves are d4, d5, and bishop to f4. Takes out the bishop. White takes out the bishop to f4. Before that, they may take out the knights also, like this knight. After d4, d5, it takes out the white takes out the knight, black takes out the knight, and then it takes the bishop here to f4. That way also this bishop game is played. And next move is e6. Otherwise, this is e6 is a common move. So we'll just go through the moves fast. So about 53 moves are there. So after this, white has 2 pawns, black has 1 pawn, and this position is obtained, and here black resign. Let's see why. Black king to d5, king to e7. Now the computer analyzes this as if you take the king to f5. f5 here, white king, if it goes to f5, then it is a draw. So very carefully you have to select and you have to play. So there are chances that this game can be drawn also. But if both the players are grandmasters, then there is no chance, of course. Now takes king to e5. Now he pushes a pawn up, but black crosses it. So it allows one pawn to go, because otherwise cannot push the pawn in c file further. Then this moves up c6. Then black also starts moving, goes to c7, goes to b3 and queen. Now king comes to d4 for the protection of this, but what white is doing presently is that is blocking the c file for the black king. So white kings start nearing the black king, goes to d3, brings the queen to c1, king to d4. The pawn is blocked and check is there. King goes to c4. Now he brings his king nearer to the black king. King to d3. He captures the pawn. King to e2. King to c3. King to f2. Now this is the position which is required. King above the king. And then king to e2. Queen to c2 and check. King to e1, king to f3, and this is the exact position required for checkmate and mates. Now we go to further I think third game. Now this game is played into Queen's Gambit decline and semi-Tarash variation. So actual moves of semi-Tarash and Queen's Gambit declined is d4, d5, c4, c6. So this gambit was given through this pawn on c4, which is without any protection, and the black pawn can capture, but he has declined to capture it. It's because you are moving your center pawn to flank. That is why normally people accept also king gambit accepted also cases. Lines are there: knight c6, knight f3, and then c5, c5. Now he plays in a different way, and now similar position is reached. So it is showing queen gambit declared d40. Actually the white played c4 here. Started with this c4, and then further he played g6, knight to c3, c5. So c5 move was there at the end in our this thing actual line. So somehow it reaches the same position, so it is named like that. Now go fast. About 60 moves are there till it reaches the end game. Here it has reached. Before that also it has reached actually. See the go back. Then here also the same. This thing is there. In fact, going back in the game. One rook, two rooks are there. Let's see from here. Goes here, captures the pawn, captures the rook. So he has exchanged the rook. Now king to f4, king just h6, king e5, h5, g cross h5, g cross h5, a4, a5, king f5, king d6, king g5, king e5, king f3, king e6, f4, h4, king cross h4, king to f6, king to g3, king g6, king f3, king f6, king e4, king e6, king d4. And here black resigned. This pawn is locked here, and there is a full possibility that the f pawn will be pushed up. So let's see how he pushes it up. King is trying to go here and capture this pawn. It is obstructing. King to c6. Then he pushes the pawn because king has reached a distance from the pawn. Now in fact white places his king such that the black pawn is lost. So white has two pawns now. Now see the king cannot capture both the pawns. Now he can capture either of the pawns. So this pawn is pushed, but he has not captured this also. Black king has not captured this also. I don't know, this move is given by the computer, so computer says that best move is this e4 for the black. So both the pawns are pushing up. So a8, white has got a queen, king b3, king b5, king c3, queen f8, queen b3, queen f7 and check, king c3, queen to a3 and check, king to c2, queen to a2 and check, king to d1, queen to d3, king to e1 and queen to e2 and checkmate. So that is the position obtained, white wins. Now this is again played in a Joko piano. So Joko piano, the moves are e4. It's called quiet game, Joko piano. e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4 and bishop c5. Now actually after this people move, people offer two moves. One is they push the pawn up here to c3 so that they can push this d pawn to d4, and then lot of capture either takes place or the bishop has to retreat back, or they castle so that they support this f2 pawn through rook. So let's see what he has done here. This is very normal, pushing this pawn up. Some people castle also. So I bring the knight here for so that I am not explaining Joko piano. I just wanted to revise this thing, your theory, what Joko piano is. I've got a video on Joko piano. I don't know whether it is, I'm making videos in Marathi, Indian, English, three languages. So this also I think part, this is, I said part 4 or something. So 1, 2, 3 parts are not made in English. They are in Marathi. This position is reached and white resigned here. So game is, actual game is up to this. That's why I taken this position. But before that our end game has started. So let's see what happens here. King to a5. These are computer generated moves. King a3, king cross a3, king to b5, king to b3, king to c5, king to c3, king to b5, then he pushes a3. Then that king moves to c5, a2. Then d5. You have to initially be very careful, otherwise you lose the pawn and make a draw. Only 2 kings are left on the board. King to e5. Now similar, he's blocked the f file here. So king has to go either dance into this e file or d. Immediately can go into d file also. D file it goes. Queen to f6. King e4, queen to g5, king to f3, king d3, king f2, g4, king f1, king e3. Now this is the position actually we want. Somehow we have to bring this king on top of the king. Always this is happening either, and mostly in our pawn endings we are getting one queen. So king is on the top of king and this queen comes here to g1, then finish. If it is a rook, then it can happen also. So kings goes here and finish. So this was 5th game. Now go to 6th game. This is played in Petrov defense and Paulson attack. Now Petrov defense moves are, they have played e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6. This is very basic, but Petrov. Paulson attack is this. Normally they will cross the pawn, white will cross the pawn. So d6 and knight to c4. So these are the common. This is the Petrov-Paulson attack. Now we'll go through other this thing. Daniel Range and Karminsky players are there. 2384 and 2306 ratings. So after reaching this endgame, the black resigned. In fact, king and pawn going to previous moves. So here actually king, rook is there. Now somehow has been able to capture this queen through the rook. I'll see the moves. It's given a check by bishop. So he's removed the check like this, and rook captures, and king captures, and black resign. I'm not analyzing those games and don't know why they played like that. King to g7. Now one by one they try to grab the pawns. Black king is going and grabbing. f3. Oh. I don't know, black resigned here. Black resigned here. Previous move was. So next moves are black king goes to f3. Goes to, he plays c4 now. Actually the computer analyzes this, that if you take the king to e6 then you're gone. It is a draw. Actually I made a video on this key squares. So key squares for this pawn are here top, or if pawn moves to c4 then the key squares are b6, c6 and d6. So king has to be on key squares, otherwise you lose. So he is pushing the pawn. So this king to e6 will be a draw because you are moving away from the key square. So he pushes the pawn up, so it is almost in the key square. Not key squares are now b6, c6 and d6. Almost king to e3. He later how the king will approach from here. It is going. There's no other moves are there. So it becomes a queen and check. Now the run starts. Queen. So typical pattern, you will find that king on top of the king. He lets this thing move forward and finished. Finish. So that is the main technique. You have to remember that one thing is you block either one file or a rank for the other king so that he cannot approach your pawn, and you have to bring the king on the top of the other king. Now this is actually great people are there. Aaron Nimzowitz and Tarash, they are playing. This is played in Scotch and Smith variation. So actually Scotch game is e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, and he pushes the pawn immediately to d4, and black crosses the pawn and knight crosses this. So that is the Scotch win, and it takes the knight to f6 here. That is Smith's variation. So the game follows here. Now here white resigned actually. That's our job now to find out. Now it takes kings to d4, then takes to f4. Actually the computer analyzes this that if you take the king to g7 here, then it is a draw. You find out, you arrange this position on the chessboard and try to play from here the endgame. So we have seen h5, h6, king to a6. He plays a4 here, bishop to b4, king h6, captures the pawn. Black captures the pawn here, so both have one pawn, and of course kings are there, so both of them are trying. Now he can black king can very easily capture the white pawn. That is why white earlier resigned. He is just moving only here and here, not trying to appraise the pawn or anything. He knows that it's just useless, fruitless, so you can call. Queen to c1, king to b3, queen to c5, king to b2, king to f2, king a2, king e2. Now it's blocked the c file, so king is constrained in the a and b files only. Now it brings, this is on the top, you can say this is a position change 90 degrees. So king to b1, king c3, king a1, king b3, it has come on the top. But you cannot give a check from here because c1, then queen will be captured. Best thing is you take the queen here to g1. Somehow on the first rank you have to give the check and mate. Now move to seventh problem. Now this is played again Hikaru Nakamura and Sergey Karjagan, very great players there. In 2004 this match was played. Now this is in Sicilian closed. So Sicilian closed, basically Sicilian moves are this: e4, c5, and then knight to c3 makes it a closed game. Normally in Sicilian you will move this knight to f6 you will move the knight to, but if you move it to this knight to c3, then it is a closed Sicilian. So now I will go for the fast. In fact, it is reached the endgame, but I halted it where black resigned. Anyway, so I can go back also till some major or minor piece is there. Oh no, yes, rook comes here. Now here he moved king to f6, king to e4, captures the rook, king to e5, king f2, king f6, king g3, king e6, h4, captures, king to f6, king h5, trying to move, push the pawn up, king h7, g5 check, king h7, king f7, king to h8, and king to g6. Here black resigned because he understood that further he cannot do anything. But now let's see what the computer says, how this game can be won. king to g8, king to h6, king to f7, pawn is pushed up, king to f8, king to h7, king to e7, pawn is pushed up, king goes now to it wants to capture this white pawn, so it becomes a queen. King to c5, king to g7, king to d4, king to f6. See how the king is approaching, and this has blocked the d file now, so he cannot go this side at all. King e3, king f5, king f2. This is the position is trying to get is on the top of the king. This is just a waiting move is made, or he has threatened this pawn, and in fact a4. Let's see if he captures. King f2, no. Queen to d2 and check. King to f1, king f3, king g1, finished. Queen to g2 and checkmate. White wins here. That is why black resigned. Sergi Khan resigned and Nakamura won. Now we go to 8th game. This is also Bonerji, Moshi Sundar and Koren. Koren is a very popular player. This is again played in Joko Piano, so I don't go into the moves of Joko Piano. But see, here he has castle. Like I told you in the last video that when black brings his bishop to c5, white either captures or he pushes his pawn up to c3. So this game we found the example that it is captured. So both moves are good, and now we'll move fast till white resign. Actually before that also that position is, but white resigned at this point. Let's see, let's go back till we have some major or minor piece on the board. Oh no, now rooks are there. Similar case, rook is captured, captured by the pawn. King goes to e6, h4, like that. I've gone back to till a major piece was on the board. And going forward now, in fact now white resigned. Here white resigned. Now further moves are through computer. King e3, king c4, king d2, king b3, king. You should arrange these pieces in such a way on the board and try to play this. Then you will know which moves are good and which moves are bad. King f2, king d2, king g2. Now it's pushing it's pushed the king far away, and then is bringing the pawn up from black side, down from our side. So this becomes a queen. It immediately blocks the e file first. Then is bringing the king nearer to our prescribed position. So this is one of the positions, king on top of the king. It is reached. Now if queen goes to this h7, then it is a checkmate. Checkmate. Now this is now 9th this thing game. Now it's given as King's Indian Averback variation. A King Indian, the actual moves are d4, this knight to f6, c4 and g6. So black wants to fiancé to the bishop here, means bring the bishop to g7, that is called fianchetto. Very similar to Nimzo Indian, you will have this pawn up, e6 pawn up, and have the bishop out here. So this is King's Indian, and from this the Nimzo Indian was derived. So actually the white player played c4 first, this c4, but the position became such a way that it is converted into King's Indian defense. Just see, this is fianchetted. Bishop is fianchetted. So now we'll move fast. Two major pieces were there, queen was there, and here white resigned. Now we'll just go back till that queen was there on the board, because I halted the video at somebody resigned position, so I didn't consider all this, because a lot of pawns and only pawns, and now this queen gives a check. It brings a queen in between white and captures the queen, exchanges the queen, and then it is become a pawn and king endgame from here. So it brings to g7, king to f2, king has to come out. Now the main principle of the endgame, actually they bring your kings out and near to the center. That is the first principle of endgame. e3, but the king has a job of capturing the pawns as much as possible, and whoever captures more wins. King on top of king, so it has to move. Both are moving away. Capture this, capture this. Now actually no hope for white actually now. See, king to e2, king to f5. Here white resigned. Let's see further moves from computer. King to f1, king to e4, king to f2, king to f4. Now what such a gift computer is, no? Because one game I showed you, it was considered for quite some as a draw, for quite some time as a draw. Actually that Grandmaster Reiti analyzed the game and he said no, it's not a draw, but we have now a lot of facilities here. We can feed it to the computer and find out whether it is a draw or win or something. Very great. King to g3, king e1, king cross h3, king to f2, king g4, king f1, king f4, king g1, king e3, king d1. Pawn is pushed, pawn has become queen. Now it has to capture. That goes to f4. So f4 means is blocked a rank. Goes to a3, and now the black king starts coming here. Now black king has blocked the c file for white king, and the queen has blocked b file, so it has to move on a file. Now this is the position we want king on top of the king. So king goes here, finished, checkmate. Now the last game. This is queen's gambit declined and Chigorin variation. So king's gambit declined is this, knight to 6 is c6. This is a queen's gambit declined because white has given a gambit and he has declined to capture the pawn on c4. But normally people will bring out this c6, that is Slav or semi-Slav defense, like. But in Chigorin variation, the black brings his knight out at b6, and that's how it starts. Now let us see the game. Here, so let's go back a little to find some major piece into the long back. So after that, after he reached the pawn game also, they played a lot of this thing. This is the appearance of the major pieces here. The bishop captures the knight and pawn captures bishop. Actually easy for white because white knew that he is going to win somehow. This is a great pass pawn here, nearing to be promoted, and here he can stop somehow the attack from here. So this way it goes. Pushing the king to the side, trying to capture that black pawn, but black king has left that and has come to white e4 pawn. Pushes that, so pushes the king. White king goes to a6 and white king easily captures the pawn. I bring the king to f5, king b7, captures this pawn. This pawn goes up. He comes here, goes to e7. He captures, but it becomes a queen. So there is no now chance of black promoting his pawn. So here actually black resigned, and this is our position. You arrange this position on the chessboard and try to play from here. Here black resign, king to f3, queen cross h5 and check, king to f4, queen to e2. Is blocking the e file now for the king. Queen to e3, pushing up the king, and now it brings it on top of this. Queen to f2 check, king to g6, king to e6. He could have very easily captured, but he found a checkmate there, so he went up and put the bishop in between. So it has to move down on h5. Now king on top of the king position has come. It is a horizontal top, horizontally opposite kings is called. But you see from the other side it is top only. It is going, but there is no the same point. Queens come between and it is a checkmate. So this is the 10 actually played games I have shown here. Please subscribe to this channel, and I am mostly majority of my videos are in Marathi. Then Number 2 is Hindi and number 3 is English. I don't know. Try to convert them into English somehow, sometime. But keep watching. If you understand Hindi and Marathi, it is good. Thank you.